Uh, all right. So with today's topic, I like to ask the group today to think about this question: how have the recent events across the United States made you feel? And my question for Loretta, I like to start by asking you that question: how have the recent events across the United States made you feel?
You know, Paul, I lived through this in the 60s. And my people, of course, they're African American, has lived with this hundreds of years of the injustice and slavery. But not only my people, people such as I always say I have three things that really put a mark against me: being a woman, being an African American, and being a person with intellectual disability. So when I see the things happen around the country, I feel really hardened because I think we can settle this if it's done right. I lived through the 60s. I remember the bullets dodging. I remember the National Guard putting a gun at my sister, my little sister's head, who was only like 12 because she got up before the curfew. We didn't know that she went over in the park and was waiting for the bus. But I've seen it. I lived through the riots, and the fighting and injustice doesn't get you anywhere. We're always going to have injustice, no matter what. And I don't know how to solve the problem, but I think what I saw this time around, that people gathered, and they gathered in masses and demanded what they would like to see. And not only African Americans, but people of color, people who happen to be Caucasian or white, people from all demographics are coming together and they're doing it in a peaceful way. What really saddens me when I see people breaking into places, tearing up stores. The COVID thing is not doing any justice, the COVID-19. That's not doing us any justice. Nobody. It's affecting everyone. But we found out that COVID is really affecting people with intellectual disability because they're the least served. We find out it's really affecting people of the indigenous people, meaning Native Americans. And we really are finding out that it's impacting people who happen to be African American. The first three demographics of people who aren't being served. So if I say I feel happy inside with it, no, I don't. But I think if we all come together and we demand what we want, peace, break down the stereotypes of discrimination, I think we could do this in a peaceful manner. And what I saw this weekend across the globe, not even here in the United States, but across the globe, how people want things. I think we can, there's over 300 million Americans alone. And if each and every one of us stand up and say, all lives matter, Black, Hispanic, people with intellectual disabilities, Native Indigenous people, just go down the line. To me, all lives matter. I happen to be Black, and yes, Black lives do matter. My life matters, your life matters. But we're only going to solve this if we all come together as one people, a people of God, one earth, one God, many different beliefs in who He is. That's fine. But we can all come together if we sit down and listen to the other person. Listen first and see what they have, hear what they have to say. Not see, but hear what they have to say. I think we can get through this. Special Olympics proves it already through sport. 1968, a woman, Eunice Kennedy Shriver, decided that she was going to have the games in Chicago against people who were institutionalized inside institutions. People like me. I was ready to go to Lawton State School and Hospital. I remember visiting it in 1965, May the 18th. And I remember going to Eastern State School and Hospital, visiting. That's where people like you and I were put. But here's a woman who decided, says, I'm going to have my games. We're going to have these games regardless of what's going down. This country was breaking up. Blacks wasn't like whites, and whites wasn't like Blacks. But she held the first games regardless. And look at our games now. Did she fight? In a sense, in her mind, yes. But did she fight with bullets? No. She got people behind her to work together to make our games, I always say our movement, a stronger movement. And we can include people if you look at Special Olympics. Sport, food, and music brings people together. And that's how we can solve this awful problem that's going on. Just like with COVID, it's just simple. Keep your distance. Social distance, I don't say. I say physical distance. Because I can stand in front of somebody 6 feet apart and talk up a blue moon and have a great conversation. So I say physical distance. And it's simple. Physical distance, wash your hands, wear a mask, stay inside, and go out and get some exercise. So it's hard, it's tough. I like to know what it's like for some of our athletes, because I mean, most of our athletes, we're used to this. We're used to being isolated. So being isolated for the average person with intellectual disability, it's easy for us. It's really hard for those who are quote unquote not a person with intellectual disability. People can learn from us. We can learn from each other.
That was an awesome question, Loretta. The next question I have for you, Loretta, have you opposed racism in the past, both on and off the playing field?
I haven't had racism. I've been exposed to it all my life, both on and off the playing field. And I can remember off the playing field, I've been running since 1966. And I can remember running and stopping at a corner and people would come by and they would raise their windows up in their cars. It'd be a 90-degree day and they're driving in this car and they're raising the windows up because I am standing on the corner, or getting the rude look in the store, or being said, like one time I ran into what they call the Ku Klux Klan. Did that scare the crap out of me? Who would ever thought that they would be in York? I remember going fishing, and I remember a big old sign saying KKK meeting at dusk. And I looked at Mr. Melvin, the guy who I was driving, going to fishing with. I said, Mr. Melvin, what's dusk? He said, that means it's going to be dark and we're going to be out of here. KKK's having a meeting tonight. I've seen it in all ways. I've even seen it on the playing field. I've seen it in the karate dojo. It's like second nature to me. And I don't like to see it today. Just a week ago, I was running and somebody told me, what are you doing in my country? And the guy happened to look like he was of indigenous, I wouldn't say indigenous, but of Hispanic descent. To drive past me running by the fairgrounds says, what in the, what are you doing in my country? Go back to where you belong. So I see it all the time.
The next question, Loretta, how is your involvement with Special Olympics, especially supporting you during these times?
Special Olympics has been really good to me during these times because I live by myself, kind of self-isolated. I have friends that for the first time, I didn't see them since this all happened because they have medical conditions. So I couldn't go visit them other than talking on the phone. The people at Special Olympics have been calling me, coaches, just to see how I'm doing. We have a little local chat, sort of like this. On Fridays, we had our last one because the coaches are going on vacation. Special Olympics has been wonderful. People from SOI have been calling me and says, hey, Loretta, or even sending me a text, says, we're thinking of you. They have been the best. And I'm hoping that your programs are supporting their athletes. No, you can't physically be close, but you can pick up a phone. You can call somebody. You can write a letter. Oh, stamps still count. You can send a letter. And it's amazing how you can keep in touch. And I always say the best support that I've seen come through all this was through other people. And of course, my friends from Special Olympics have been really grateful.
Next question, Loretta. In what ways are you supporting and uplifting your teammates?
You know, it's really hard right now to really support my teammates because we can't be together. I live in the city. Most of my teammates live out in the outskirts. So what I do, we get a little Special Olympics letter, and it has their names on it. And it's Special Olympics, York County newsletter. And what I do is I call up the coaches, and I might pick 2 coaches a week, and I'll call them up and ask how they're doing, or did you hear from so-and-so? And we chat with each other. It might be 3 or 4 minutes. Hello, Mrs. Ploppert, how are you? I'm calling to see how Mike's doing. How are you guys doing through this? Man, I really miss golfing. It's golfing season. Things like that. It's very, very simple. Or sometimes I'll just write a letter and put a stamp on it and say, hey, thinking of you. If I don't have somebody's number, I might have their address. So we kind of keep in contact distantly. That's why I don't like to say social distance, because you can still be social by writing a letter or sending a card. And if you have even a prepaid phone card, you can get on the phone and call prepaid phone card with your minutes and still talk to somebody. What 5 minutes does for somebody is a lot. And when I get to support from my Special Olympic friends and coaches and athletes, that means a lot to me.
Next question. What do you think inclusion is the answer to create a better world for all?
You know, Special Olympics shows inclusion, and I think inclusion is the best thing. If we just sit down and invite somebody, you're a cook, or you might have a restaurant, or you don't even have to have a restaurant, just in the park. If you just sit there and just say hi to somebody, start out, include somebody, just for temporarily, what it does to make a difference. It's amazing like how many people will stop me. And there was one time the same people wouldn't even look at me. But I know what Special Olympics has done to me. It has included me. And I'll never forget when I started in 1970, a coach says, Loretta, I think you need to do this. And I was like, what is it? I lived an angry life. And I looked on the paper, Olympics. Well, I wanted to be an athlete. I wanted to be a nurse, and I wanted to be a veterinarian. And I looked at the guy and says, is this something today? And then you're going to tell me it's going tomorrow? He says, why don't you try it? And it was Special Olympics. And I've always been fighting that we include all athletes, whether it's our Special Olympic athletes in the schools, whether it's in the preschool, or whether it's in the high school. Special Olympics is showing right now what inclusion is. And if the rest of the world would take a half an hour and look at what Special Olympics has started with and how far it's come to be including. We're about inclusion, not exclusion. And this inclusion is working. It's opening up. When I went to school, people got bullied. I got the scars to prove it from being bullied. Today, you'll hear young people say, you know what? I don't like people bullying. Why don't you stop that? And I still say, it's because when we started in the schools, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, in the early 90s, start going to schools and speaking to schools about what it's like for people with intellectual disability. Then we came up with our school programs, our unified sports, unified clubs. It has all but promote exclusion. It has promoted inclusion to its highest. So we know inclusion works.
Thank you for joining us today, Loretta. Do you have any motivational quote you want to share with our athletes before leaving us today?
Well, Paul, before she shares that, I think Loretta might have some questions for you.
Okay.
So, yeah, Loretta, if you got any questions for Paul, go ahead.
Yes, Paul, in what ways do you support your fellow athletes at this time? I know it's hard to support them right now. You're not on the playing field, of course, virtually, but not all your athletes have the virtual tools. How do you support your athletes in Nevada?
So what I do is I call them, I video call them or text them. So let them know that, I know a lot of them miss Special Olympics, but I'll let them know that we're all in this together during tough times. We got you. We have your back. We'll be here for you if you need anything. My house, my door is always open. Now, if I don't always answer the phone or answer the text, I'll always reply back, and they know that. So I always make them understand I'm always here for you, and we're always here to support. And I always let them know that we will return better than ever. Inclusion stands together. Never goes away.
So how is Special Olympics supporting you at this time of challenge with COVID and with the whole racial thing that's going on?
Special Olympics Nevada has been great. They're doing everything in their power to support a lot of athletes like myself. So let us know, hey, we got you with all the Motivational Monday, the fitnesses. It makes us together even more. It gives us a chance to really know each other more outside of competitions as well. So it's been amazing. It's been awesome.
So what's your way of thinking about inclusion for our athletes? Do you think it's an answer for all of our athletes, and how can we work towards inclusion for all of our athletes? Of course, you live in Nevada. There's great many athletes there in Nevada. I'm pretty sure you have Asians, you have people who are of African descent, you have people who are indigenous people, meaning Native Americans. How are you or your program working on including those people into programs? Because I know inclusion is one of the things that is going to solve a lot of problems what's happening now. We can't solve problems with guns and knives and stuff like that, but we can solve problems by starting with ourselves as our programs as we go out. How's your programs doing that?
Here in Nevada's been great. Here in Las Vegas and up north towards Northern California, we have a very diverse society, and majority of the time it's pretty open. So we go out into the public, we make the cultures understand. One of my mentors, my parents, always told me that if you make the culture understand, you have the understanding will always be there. So we always go out and we promote, we make you understand that it doesn't matter, like you said, what culture that you are, we have the same issue. So we try to include everybody in the culture, and the culture down here in Nevada has been nothing but great, understanding, including others. So it's been like really awesome. So we do our very best to make sure that the understanding is there. Now in a place like Nevada, you may not think it's not there. It's there. It's just that people have to, one person can make a difference in this world. So here in Nevada, that's what we stride on and try to promote and include everybody. We try to relate to people the best way we can and to understand, so the inclusion can grow even more and educate our public and our communities needs to have that type of support.
And remember that one person is just like a team. That one person has a team behind them. I'm pretty sure Martin Luther King had a team behind him to work with him, to spread his message. Eunice Kennedy Shriver had a team behind her to spread her message about inclusion and about Special Olympics. So that was a good answer that you had given. Thank you.
My pleasure, Loretta. Thank you.
So, Paul, you can go back to your last question that you had.
Do you have a motivational quote that you want to share with us athletes today?
You know, I don't really have what you call a quote, but during this time, it's a time of really hard issues to deal with, being African American and then fighting this whole thing with the COVID. And I'll always say what I learned from Special Olympics is to have faith. So I'm saying right now, every day when I get up, faith trumps over fear. Every time I turn on the TV and I see something happen, it brings a fear. The COVID, being African American, and just seeing people being sick with this. And we all know that eventually everyone's going to know somebody with this horrible, horrible thing. And I'll just say my quote is for today is faith trumps over fear. And that's what my quote is for this time as we go through this.
That's a great.
And my regular quote that I always carry with me is, I don't want to ever be like this. Some who has so much has so very little. You can have all the education in the world, but if you don't have common sense to have respect for somebody else, you have so very little.
Wow, that's an amazing quote. That's amazing insight, Loretta.
Thank you.
Man, yeah, that's awesome. I don't even know I don't even know how to follow that. But Loretta, we're gonna open it up to athletes to ask you questions.
Sure.
Is that okay? Is that cool?
That's fine.
So athletes,
that's what I'm here for.
Anybody who's on, if you have questions, if you can type them into the chat box, we will go through and ask them for you. But being a person of mixed race, we've gone through it. We've gone through it. Well, I've gone through it too. And what I think that Special Olympics has taught me is that I'm not alone, and that that there are others in Special Olympics that, different races, but that disability has always segregated them too, segregated our athletes. But whether it's a disability, a race, Special Olympics includes everybody, and even political views and all of that. We don't care. We just want you. We're nonpartisan. We just want you to know that we accept you all, and here we're all teammates and whatnot. So I thought you did a great job sharing that message. And Paul, man, I appreciate you too sharing that message also. So we have a question from Emma, and she says, "You're an inspiration. What events do you compete in, and how do you train for the marathons?"
I compete in probably 9 events. I started kayaking last year, and I really got hooked with it. That was my newest one in volleyball. But guess what? We can't have no kayaking this year. Mm-hmm. And I compete in a lot of events, just more or less for physical health and mental health, because I live on my own, and I could be sitting in this house 8-hour days. That's not good. So what's great, and I'm blessed to have Special Olympics because I can go to kayaking. I can go to golf in the summer. I can go to tennis. But right now it's really hard. So I really look at Special Olympics as my lifesaver for my mental health and physical health. And a lot of people think, how come you don't compete in bowling? You're so good. I said, I'm not really interested in competing in the tournaments, but I'm interested more or less in the social skill of bowling. So when I go to bowling, there's a lot of the sports I don't compete in. I just like to do them locally because I like to be around people, and it's good and healthy for mentally to be around people for me.
Awesome. A question from Kim. What do you do when someone is racist towards you? Kim says that, when people have said stuff to her, she gets angry and argues with them. Oh. What suggestions do you have to handle that in a different way?
I used to do the same thing. In fact, about 3 weeks ago, I was running out by the fairground, and I said to you about the young man in the car. I cut down behind the church, and I saw that car, and I was ready to go up, and just as I got to that corner, the light turned green. And I said to myself, I said, and it's terrible, I have a thing that I use. I was in the store, and the lady snatched the chicken right when I went to get it. And I was so upset, and I said a few choice words, and I said to myself, she was one lucky woman. And I turned around and said, hope there's no kids on this call. But here's what I said. When I really get mad, I can show my class. Get it?
Yeah.
Make up for your
I
actions.
just use some humor. I can show my ASS or I can show my class. And I just decide to use the latter and show my class.
That's that's great.
Humor can go a long way.
Yes,
But
I truly
I
believe.
know what she's going through. I go through it all the time. And I really get mad, but I'm not going to chase somebody down in the car. I thought I was going to catch that guy. And I just said, well, now what I do is say, flick it off. Just flick it off. So let it be.
Oh, man. Hey, Loretta, so one person we're going to unmute is our sports manager in San Jose. His name is Derek. And, you know, he started one of the most powerful conversations that I've ever been a part of during a team meeting. And I think that he, you know, started something and showed, one, that we in our program are in a culture where we're comfortable to talk about these things. And so I'm really glad that he started that conversation. But just want to introduce Derek Irving from San Jose to, he wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
Hey, Loretta, how you doing?
Fine, and how are you?
Good. I just want to first say thank you for having this conversation. It's been really inspiring to hear. Like Harry said, we had a conversation with our staff last week, but being able to see the same conversation be had with athletes as well has really been inspiring. And one thing that you said was just to reach out and to talk to someone, and something as simple as a text message or a phone call really goes a long way. So if we can really reiterate that to everybody that's on this call, if you can reach out to someone and a text message that you think might be having a tough time with anything that's going on, a quick call, like you said, 3 minutes, or a text message will really go a long way. But my question for you is, with Special Olympics being postponed or canceled at the moment, what are you doing to stay fit and healthy?
What I do to stay fit and healthy, of course, they say about, I was running one day and this lady says, you're supposed to have a mask on. She hollers out of the car. She's standing there hollering at me on the corner. I'm sweating bullets. And I go in my pocket and I pull out this sweaty, nasty mask. And I said, why don't you get out here and try to run with this sting on? Sweating. So what I do, I try to go out and run, and I keep my distance from people, because when you're breathing and running, 6 feet translates into 10 feet. So when I see people on the pavement, I go in the street and I run around the cars. The day they finally opened up our silver sneakers, we're not allowed to work out in gyms. And somebody told me through the grapevine, hey, they're having the silver sneakers. My sister calls me up and says, Loretta, there's the silver sneakers down at the Revolution Park. Got up, got on my bike, rode across town, got there in time, signed up, and I was doing my silver sneakers. And when I can't get out, I have my little mat here, 10-pound weights, couple weights, roll out the mat, I'll do push-ups. So I basically, and then I go up to the park and hit tennis balls by myself, my Fucker Park Backboard Ghetto Tennis Club. Number of members 1. So that's how I stay in shape.
That's great. Thank you for that.
Actually, after this, I'm going to go running.
How many miles do you run usually on a day?
I'll probably run about, I'll probably go out about 4. So I'll probably run about 45 minutes an hour.
Wow. Oh, that's great.
Yesterday I hit tennis balls and I pulled weeds. I had weeds growing, so got to pull weeds.
Absolutely. Well, great. Thank you for that.
Sure.
Thanks, Derek. Hey, so on that too, so we know what you do for a workout. What have you been eating during this?
I eat a lot of salad.
Yeah.
Because right now you can't go to the gym. So last night I had last of my mixed greens, and I had some frozen chicken. My sister, she has a grill, and I told her, I said, could you do me some chicken? So she puts the chicken on the grill and cuts it up, and then I give her a couple dollars for the chicken because she cooks it. I'm not a big cook. And then I freeze it, so I will go out and I pull out the frozen chicken, let it set. I went out and took a run yesterday, hit my tennis balls, came back, put that in the microwave, had my mixed greens, my carrots, my onions, the whole 9 yards, my salad dressing, and that was my meal last night.
Mm. Yeah.
So in the morning, I usually have a yogurt with granola, or I should switch it up and have cereal. I like the Golden Crunch and Fiber One cereal, so I make sure I eat quality cereal. And like I said, I'm not a big cook, and it's been keeping my weight down. I have friends my sister gained 22 pounds throughout this. A lot of people gain weight because you can't go out. They think you can't go out, but you can go out and walk and ride a bike. So I live by myself, and I'm not just going to sit in this house.
Yeah. I mean, that's been our focus throughout, since the quarantine has happened, is making sure that our athletes, stay healthy and stay fit. We're doing our best to promote, to have these virtual programs that our athletes can be a part of.
And
so
you
it's great.
Can stay fit. You don't need weights. I roll my mat out. I do push-ups. I do sit-ups. I take hands and hold them like this and just look at the clock and do a squat and hold them, say like a minute. You work up to that. You might start out with 15 seconds and then you stand there. Okay, I did that for 15 seconds, rest, and then try it again, and then come back and try to work it up 5 or 10 more seconds. You'd be surprised what you could do without weights. Nelson Mandela worked out in a square jail, and look how fit he stayed for 27 years.
Yeah. So Loretta, everybody again has probably the same question, but if you can just reiterate, what is the best way to handle any type of negative things being said to anybody, regardless of the race, the religion, all of that? Like, what do you think is the best way to handle the confrontation of something like that?
I found out, and it took me a long time, I used to settle everything with my fists or talking back. I just find out nowadays, whatever. I just say, like, what it is what it is, and just flick it off. But now, if somebody's bold enough to get up in my face, I'm going to have a confrontation with them. But people aren't that bold. And I find out this, you know what, just let it be. Because you just never know today. People carrying guns, I was up in the park yesterday and just hearing the kids swearing and carrying on. I wanted so bad to go down there and says, what do you think you sound like? I said, I wish I had a tape recorder, and then you would think it over. But I didn't. I stayed up and kept hitting my balls, and then I left. Sometimes it's better just to walk away. It's a hard pill to swallow, but I find out, and I just look at them and say, what? Whatever. Just like the lady in Walmart snatched the chicken. I was not happy, and I turned around and I said a few choice words to her because the lady said there's 2 chickens there, and I wanted to pick one up, and she grabbed it from me. Before I even got my hands on it, I was like, wow.
Oh, man.
I could have handled that 2 ways, but was it really worth it to get in trouble for?
No.
But if you're amongst somebody, if you're on a playing field, if somebody's saying negative, go to the coach. If somebody's saying something against your race, go to the coach. And if that coach doesn't have anything to do or try to wipe it off, go higher. I always say skip the pond and go straight to the king. I had that issue with a coach. And I walked up to her and I said, why are you so mad at me? Is it because I'm a good athlete? I said, your son is on my team, and I would be there. I would be the Rosa Parks for Michael, who has Down syndrome. I would be the Rosa Parks if I seen somebody pick on Michael. I like to know what your problem is. And I caught her 15 minutes before we went to basketball problem. I never had a problem out of that woman to this day. And she was one of the first ones to call me up and says, Loretta, this is so-and-so. I'm calling you to see how you're doing because we didn't hear from you. All it took was a talk, a personal talk between her and I. I let her know where I was coming from. And I used to didn't handle things that way.
I think maturity comes with age, and you know, I think that hearing from you and our younger athletes, it's a good start. It's a good start for them to start now and not have to wait till, you know, they're my age or your age. You know, it's wise words from somebody who's been in how many years have you been in Special Olympics now, Loretta?
I started Special Olympics in 1970. But
Man.
you know what I was thinking during this time? If all the programs, the local programs, would sit down before they have a sport going on and just sit down 5 minutes and have one of the athletes from a different background speak for a minute or two and have questions, you'll break down the stereotypes.
Absolutely. I think
and it doesn't take nothing but 10 to 15 minutes to do that before you start your sport. And you don't have to do that every week, but maybe once or twice during that sports season when you have that free time so that you can get to learn about each other.
I have a question, Loretta, from Paul. So given all what you've been through, what would you tell an athlete that's being bullied in school, that's struggling in school, and also struggling to find some type of employment to succeed in the real world? Because you're a living testament about what success in the real world is about. What would you tell that? What would you tell that person with a disability? Those two things I just worded. One is struggling in school and bullying in school, and also struggling to find a job so they have a chance to be successful in this world.
Well, in school, I would say to that person who's having the problems in school to go to a teacher or to go to someone and just sit down and talk and just say, can I take 5 minutes? This is what's happening to me in school. Because school should be a place where he should be comfortable, not being bullied. So to go to a teacher. On a job, going out for a job, it's tough. But I always say success comes from within. So if somebody's knocking you down, you have to get back up. It's like a weed. You pull it once. If you don't come back and pull it the next week, guess what happened? That weed is back. So I always say to them, success comes from within. If this guy doesn't want to hire you, then you go and knock on another door. And you go and knock on another door. Maybe there might be something you need to improve. Maybe it's how you express yourself for your interview. But a lot of times, I had jobs where people would just look at me and say, color girl, I don't think so. But guess what? I let them go. I went on somewhere else. And I went to somewhere, and I never did get that job. But I said, I'm not going to go nowhere where I'm not accepted. I'll go somewhere where I'm accepted, even if I have to make less money. Because heartache from the inside ain't worth the green from the outside.
Oh, that's a great one. That's a great one. Thank you, Loretta.
Thank you.
Awesome. Man, Loretta, I feel like we can go on for hours talking about this. But we want to thank you for coming on and sharing your thoughts, your wisdom with all of our athletes on this topic. I think it is definitely something that our athletes needed to hear, and just appreciate you being on.
Well, thank you.
So Paul, you did an awesome job
yes.
asking your questions and facilitating this. So I thank you for that also.
My pleasure, Harry. Thank you for an awesome opportunity.
Yeah. So
I was waiting for that meal, man.
Oh, well, hey, the Harry Hour only lasts till about noon, but we can have the bonus time though. We'll add some bonus time. We do have Kyllene Murphy, who is our intern here in Special Olympics Nevada, and she's going to show you a nice little lunch to make. And our boy Paul here is going to cook along with her. So what we're going to do is, as they're cooking, we're going to put the poll up and see who's making the better food. So if you guys, I know a Harry Hour is supposed to end at 12, so if you have to sign off, go ahead, but we're going to stay on. Loretta, I would love for you to stay on with us so you can help us judge on who's the better cook out of these two.
Sure.
All right. So let's get Kyllene on here. Where's Kyllene? Kyllene. Oh, we're gonna turn Kyllene's video on.
Oh, no. We got it.
Oh, she's on. Okay. I won't mess with anything then.
Hi, guys.
Hello. COVID here.
All right, Paul, you ready?
Yep.
All right, Kyllene, you might have to mute your other device. All right.
How is that?
Better. It is great.
Better?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So, guys, today, Paul and I are doing a cook-off. The meal that we are cooking today is lemon glazed salmon and asparagus, so that we all stay healthy. I am going to put a little list of ingredients for you guys. Maybe we can see them. Can you read that, or is it backwards? Backwards. Okay.
Mm.
All right, Paul.
Pick it up. Pick it up.
Oh, look at that view.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing that we're going to start off with is a salmon fillet right here. I don't know how many, Paul, you're doing.
Huh? You got 5 minutes? No.
5 salmon fillets because Paul's now making lunch for everybody in his house.
I do want to remind everyone that when we are working with like raw fish or meat, just be very careful. Wash your hands before, and don't let it touch anything else. We're gonna heat up my skillet over here. This is salmon. And in the skillet, it's going to be medium heat. And we're going to do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. All right. So got 1 tablespoon into the skillet, 2 tablespoons. And Mr. Brooks, you said that you guys might cook your salmon differently. Are you doing it this same way?
We are.
Awesome.
Yeah, it turned into a cooking competition. So, you know, that's what we do. That's what we do here on the Hairy Hour. It turns into competition because that's Special Olympics, right? Turn it into competition, but it's playful competition, you know? So.
All right.
Hey, Paul, when was the last time you cooked salmon?
Cooked salmon? I say like last night for practicing.
There you go. More practice than me. Awesome. So once this skillet is like hot, you do not want your oil to be smoking. I did do that by accident this morning. That is bad. That is way too hot. Oil should not be smoking. You're going to go ahead and put your salmon fillets in there, skin side up first. We're going to add a little salt and a little pepper. Like Emerald Lagasse, you just do bam, look at it however much you want. And while that is heating up, we're gonna look at these ingredients down here.
So we're at 6 minutes. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you, Paul.
Flip over. Then we have to reduce heat to medium and add the table olive, butter, and lemon juice. Do I need to pop another lemon that?
No,
Go ahead, Kyllene.
Okay, so the salmon will be on there for about 6 minutes. You guys feel free to remind me because that's hard for me to remember. We're gonna have some parsley right here.
we use the timer on our microwave.
Perfect. And some cloves of garlic. I don't know if anyone has minced their own garlic before. If you don't feel like doing that, you can just cheat and use this already minced garlic.
Don't cheaters don't prosper, Kyllene. It's not cheating.
Don't cheat.
Yeah, use the real garlic.
2 cloves already, so you can see what it looks like. And now you guys can struggle to watch me mince the 3rd on my own. I have this little tool thing. You put in a clove of garlic.
Can you put in the camera view?
This one or this one?
That one right
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay.
there you go.
Perfect.
Can we do this one?
So
Let's see, just chopping this up.
have this tool. You're gonna put in the clove of garlic down here.
Mhm.
And then you are going, this is
And the parts of the
cooking and workout class, because you just squeeze as hard as you can. Oh, my Lanta. And we got a little bit. We did okay. So
Yeah.
it's going to come out like that. Perfect.
Loretta and I are both enjoying this right now. A whole lot.
Yeah. It's looking good.
It
The
is.
push-ups with Loretta up until this point, it might be a little bit easier for me to mince that garlic.
So, I like
Okay.
Okay.
We can take our lemon and we're gonna do little slices. Be very careful when
that
you are
might-
slicing your lemons. Sometimes it can get a little bit close to your fingers. So everyone just,
Rocky, right. Rocky, all right. Oh, yeah. Mhm.
I feel like we're doing a virtual episode of Chopped.
at least our ingredients are like, it's not, like here's a rhubarb and 8 strawberries.
All right. Yeah, true, right? If you guys have not seen what we're talking about, Chopped, it's a cooking show that people compete in, and they get the weirdest ingredients whatsoever. But Kyllene is not doing Chopped. She actually got decent ingredients that we all buy at the store.
We tried. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Okay, 26 seconds left. Oh, here.
22 seconds? Okay.
Wait, I'm a little ahead of Kyllene though, but
A little ahead of Kyllene.
Oh, shots
all right.
fired.
All
okay.
right. Man.
Then
Loretta, do you eat fish?
I do eat fish. I don't eat pork or beef.
Okay. What's your favorite type of fish to eat?
I love salmon.
Yeah, so do I. So do I.
Yeah, I eat fish and chicken. I don't eat pork or beef, and I don't eat meat every night. I only eat meat maybe twice or 3 times a week.
Okay.
Like I had chicken last night, so I don't have to have meat tonight.
Being from Pennsylvania, you eat scrapple?
with the salmon?
That's a form of pork snow.
Oh, never. Okay.
I have a medical condition. I can't digest it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it could put me in the hospital for 7
wow.
days. Not fun.
No, well, yeah. You're not missing it. Well, for scrapple, you know, because I don't have it, have that condition. I do eat it.
That's
when
a
I'm home.
Lancaster York thing.
It is, but it's not the most healthiest thing to eat either. So.
Souse, scrapple, chitlins, pig ears, pig feet.
Yeah.
My mom made it all.
One of the tasty things though is sweet bologna with cream cheese in it. You do that.
I can't have bologna.
Oh, you can't have bologna. Oh, Loretta,
No.
don't worry. I'll have it for you. It's fantastic.
I have to show you one of the preemie caps I'm making.
Kyllene, how's your what's that? Oh, mini
It's the
cap.
preemie hat for babies in the hospital.
Nice.
I made over 1,000.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I always tell our athletes, do something for somebody else. If it's right now during this time, If you have an elder that lives in your neighborhood, you can even sit down and draw a card and say, thinking of you
Yeah. Oh,
during
that's
this
awesome.
time. And, you know, this, stick it in the door or whatever.
Yeah. Kyllene, how's it going? How's it coming along?
It's great. Just so you guys know, we did cook that salmon for about 8 minutes total. So that salmon is medium. You can cook it longer if you don't like your fish medium in that way. You can leave it in for a little bit longer. And it will be like darker all the way through.
All right.
So then you lower the heat on the same skillet. So this is great. You don't have to do that many dishes. You can use the same skillet.
Can we see your skillet?
Absolutely. I took the salmon out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me put everything in and then I'm going to show you guys. So we're going
Okay.
to add in the same skillet, you're going to do
Whoa, easy that.
a tablespoon
look
of
at that.
butter, some lemon slices that we cut already,
Like
All right.
Put them on the towel.
and the minced garlic. So now, this is what our skillet looks like at the moment.
Oh, can't see it. What are we looking at?
Oh,
Yeah.
good. All right, we'll do my laptop.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, all right.
Smells delicious in here. We're gonna let that simmer until it's reduced. So that means it's gonna just be
Next. So
a little thicker.
down to medium, and then we gotta get our lemon in there. So and then we we got a teaspoon of garlic, butter, and garlic and lemon juice. So we just did that. And then we gotta get our butter.
Okay, I got your butter right here. Get a wooden spoon.
Carrie, can you see my fillet, or did I not put it in a good place?
There you go.
All right. Loretta, what vegetables do you usually eat with your meals?
I like mixed greens with my salad. I eat a lot of salads,
Mm-hmm.
but I like any vegetable.
Yeah. Do you prefer it like stir fried? Do you like it
Broccoli.
grilled? Like how do you like to eat your vegetables?
Believe it or not, I eat a lot of my vegetables raw.
You dip them in anything?
Nope, just put them in my salad, cut
Oh,
them up, wash them first, cut them up, put them in my salad, put the salad dressing on.
While that's happening.
okay. Yeah, I've started. I'm a big fan of steamed vegetables, and I just got a grill, so I grill my vegetables a lot. But one of my
I'll steam
favorite,
them.
one of my favorite things is mashed cauliflower.
Mashed cauliflower.
Yeah, so if you boil your water, put your cauliflower in there, let it steam, and then you take your mashed potato masher and just mash the cauliflower. Yeah.
Now, see, I like my cauliflower raw.
See, I can't do that. Loretta.
Yep. I like my cauliflower. I buy
So
a thing of, usually
So-
when I go to market, I get my mixed
add
greens,
slices
and then I get my cauliflower and my broccoli,
and
and I keep it in the refrigerator, my carrot, my onion, and everything, garlic. And then I take it out, take my mixed greens, take a little bit of cauliflower, wash it, cut it up, put it in my salad. Broccoli the same way.
Yeah.
And tasty little morsel.
Nice. All right, Kyllene, what do you got going on right now?
So, since you guys were talking, we have added 1 cup of chicken broth. You can do unsalted if you, or low sodium chicken broth to be a little bit healthier.
Yeah,
Do
because sodium's
healthy
not good for you.
modifications. Yeah. We're gonna wait. So now it's there's a little bit of liquid in there. We're gonna heat it up so that it should end up being thick, like almost a sauce, almost like a white sauce in there.
Like a cream sauce type of deal.
Yes.
Um,
It'll get a little bit creamier as we add the salmon and a little bit more butter. But that's what you're going for is a cream sauce.
So now I know the recipe calls for chicken broth, but for somebody who may be, let's say, you know, that doesn't eat meat, like chicken and like beef, obviously.
Like pescatarian or something.
Yeah, they could use vegetable broth.
Yes.
Yeah. So, looks good though.
So we are going to re-add our salmon fillets.
Yeah.
This could be, just a second.
This is making me so hungry.
Paul, are you still ahead of me?
No, not really.
He's just melting his butter.
Yeah. All right.
Once the salmon fillets are back in there, the recipe does call for more butter, but like how you were suggesting, Harry, I'm sure you guys want to we could do healthy modifications. Probably doesn't need that much more butter.
But a little bit of extra butter doesn't hurt anybody, right?
As long as it's real butter.
Yes, real butter.
The fakey stuff that you have to worry about.
Yeah.
People say no sugar. Your body's made to burn sugar. It's the fakey crap that's your body's not made to burn.
Loretta, after working out, what do you usually eat or drink after working out?
You know, when I go running, I got it on my bike now that I didn't even use it at my fitness class, but I like a half a bottle of Gatorade. I take one of these water bottles and I put a half a bottle of Gatorade and the rest water. And I can take that on the run and that can get me a long way.
Okay.
Face up.
Because it has electrolytes in it, but I don't drink the Gatorade straight.
Oh, that's a good idea. I think a lot of
and
our
I swig
athletes,
down a bottle of water when I get back.
Yeah, a lot of our athletes love Gatorade, love Powerade, but it's
They
nice
drink
to,
like
Yep, you should cut
water it down. Yeah, water it down.
So can we still ask questions here?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
So my question is for Loretta. So I know, like, I was in Washington, D.C. like a couple years ago with Harry, and one of the athletes said that we all can be a little bit more forgiving. Given to the athletes' upbringing, you know, we see it all the time in the program. The athletes who struggle, that deal with the issues of their past, both abused both physically and emotionally. What would you tell that athlete that's trying to find that forgiveness within themselves and forgiving others?
That's a tough question. It's really hard when you've been abused so much to turn around and give. But I find with myself, I have a talent to knit. And I find just by knitting preemie caps or teaching somebody how to knit, it helps me relieve some of that stress from what was taken from me to give back. And of course, I follow Bob Marley's song called Pass It On. And one of the words in the song goes like this: live for yourself, you'll live in vain, but if you live for others, you'll live again. In the kingdom of God, you shall reign, so pass it on. And that's what I try to live by, whether it's knitting preemie hats or doing something. And it helps that I can give back, because a lot of people think, oh, well, people with intellectual disability, what can they do to get back? They're always taking. And sometimes it just takes to sit down and talk to somebody and give them a message.
Great. That's a great answer. Great question, Paul. We do like.
It doesn't
Bob
take
Marley.
a lot of wealth.
Yeah. I do like me some Bob Marley. Kyllene, what do you got going on in there?
Perfect. So, we simmered the salmon in the sauce. We have since taken out the salmon and are again using the same skillet, so no dishes, or just one dish. And then I remember to wash your vegetables first. Rinse off
Yep.
my asparagus. I put a little salt and pepper on it. I cut the ends off, mostly so they would just fit in my skillet. And then I added, I just put them in here, heat them up. I know, Loretta, you said that you eat your vegetables raw. I like mine cooked a little bit.
I like them like, you know, boiled, but I don't like people frying my vegetables.
Mm.
Don't fry my vegetables. Let that for the French fries.
Yeah.
But you're making me hungry.
Yeah, I know, right?
And the good news is this is pretty much the last step, guys. So I don't know how long that took us. Probably like 15 minutes, would you say, Harry?
Yeah, somewhere close to that.
Yeah. And we're pretty much, once the vegetables are cooked to where you would want them, we're pretty much done. We just have to plate it.
Mm. You ever eat asparagus raw?
No, I have not.
It's good. It's good.
I bought way too much, so maybe I should try it.
Yeah.
This entire thing left.
Yeah, no. To me, I've always grilled asparagus or fried them in something. And when I fry mine, we don't use a lot of oil. You know, we might even use cooking spray and just spray it on there.
Right.
But yeah, I try not to use too much oil. But the way they're doing their asparagus here, I will do that all day.
That's looking good.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay. Paul, was that pretty easy to follow along with?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, look at Paul.
Oh my gosh, Paul, you're feeding all of us today.
Yeah, I know, right?
Come by the house.
Hey, Paul did tell everybody that his doors are always open. So
I think I'm a little too far to hit him in time.
Loretta, just run here. Just run here. You're good. You
couldn't pay me to get on the plane right now.
Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Oh.
Yep.
Let's show both the finished products.
So with the parsley, that is strictly just for garnish. It's just to make it look pretty. So you guys can chop up some parsley like this and just throw it on there.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, look at that. Look at that.
Chef will be proud.
Oh, look at that. Uh-oh. Okay, Paul. Paul, hold yours up closer to the camera.
I got it.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Man. People who are still on, put your vote in. Put your vote in the chat room. I'm voting for both Kyllene and Paul.
Yeah. I have to vote for both of them because it's looking good.
Yeah. I gotta go for both.
You guys are way too kind.
Oh, man.
Oh, it's both looking good.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, Kyllene, thanks a lot for coming on and doing that for us.
Of course.
Love the fact that this was looked like a cooking competition. You guys were doing the same thing, but
it was better than chopped.
It was better than chopped.
Yes.
Well, we're gonna send this over to Chopped and try to get you guys on there.
Please.
So,
yes.
But before we go, Paul, you got anything? Before we go, when we used to do our Motivation Mondays, we used to share a quote or like a motivational thing. Loretta, I know that you shared yours already, but if you have another one to share, we'll come back to you at the end. But Paul, is there a motivational message that you want to give out to our athletes today?
I can. Okay, I can go with, it's a quote from Michael Jordan. Obstacles don't have to stop you. Find a way around them, go through them, jump over them. Just find a way around your obstacles. You will overcome your obstacles. Quoted Michael Jordan.
Nice. That's a great one. Kyllene, do you have one?
I feel bad that I don't have a quote off the top of my head, but I would like to thank Loretta for being here, because you are such an inspiration, especially to us in Nevada who are, working to grow our program, and just to see like the progress that you've made over the the decades that you've been involved in Special Olympics, that just one person can make such a big difference. It's just very inspiring. So we appreciate you.
Well, thank you.
Awesome. Amanda, I know you're on. You got one?
I feel like I always do, but I'm not sure who said this, but my quote is, don't get mad, don't get even, do better, much better, rise above, and become so engulfed in your own success that you forget it even happened.
Awesome.
And I will also say too, we will send the the salmon recipe that Kyllene and Paul made to everybody too. So if you want to make it at your own house, we will make sure that you get it. So
awesome. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Loretta, for coming on.
Sure.
And Paul, you did a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
It's good stuff.
ESPN yesterday aired a documentary on one of my favorite people,
Bruce Lee.
to read about, to learn about. And you're right, Paul, it's Bruce Lee. And so my motivational quote for today is from Bruce Lee, and it says, knowing is not enough, we must apply. Willing is not enough, we must do. So this comes off to me is, we can sit back and say, oh man, I know this, or I'm willing to do that, but we have to do it. And within Special Olympics, we have to let our voice be heard. We have to encourage others to share their voice, and we have to make sure that we set the example of inclusion, acceptance, and respect. So that's a message that I wanted to put out there. But before we get to you, Loretta, I forgot there's one more person. Mr. Brooks, I know you've been standing there with Paul and helping him around and all of that. I want you to share what you would share. What motivational message would you want to share with our athletes?
My holy last minute, Batman.
Hey, that's how we roll. That's how we roll here in Special Olympics.
I love it, man. The sun will always rise tomorrow. There you go.
All right, I appreciate that. Loretta, is there anything left that you would like to leave us with?
My favorite quote by somebody is by Martin Luther King. Faith is taking the first steps, even when you don't see the whole staircase. So we got to take this step today as we look towards what's happening in the world. And when you take that first step, God only knows. You got to take that first step to see the whole staircase, to see what comes out of this. And if people protest and let their message be known without guns, without fire, we can go farther. Martin Luther King did it in 1963 when he gave his I Have a Dream speech. It's going to happen again in August, right around Tim Shriver's birthday in Washington, and I hope to be there. Faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. And if it's done right, things will be better, and everyone will be treated equally in the end.
That's awesome. Well, Loretta, I'm going to end the show, but I want you to stay on so that we can talk off air. But
sure. No problem.
Thank you so much for being on. And this was such an important hour or hour and 20 minutes, but it was such an important topic to address because of everything that's going on. And I can't even think of a better person to have had on and a better athlete to have interviewing you on this topic. So thank you so much for all that you've done for Special Olympics, for the athletes, and just the inclusion movement. On behalf of Special Olympics Nevada and Northern California, thank you.
Thank you. And remember, we're all a team.
All right. All right, everybody. Well, that concludes the Harry hour-ish. We will be back next Monday with a new athlete co-host, a new guest. Thank you to Kyllene for coming on and cooking her salmon, pan-seared salmon, which looked phenomenal. Paul, thank you for coming on and interviewing Loretta and cooking with Kyllene. To everybody that's on here, thank you for joining us today. And I will see you next week, but please stay tuned for all the live programming that is taking place this week. Amanda, do you want to let everybody know what's going on the rest of the week?
Absolutely. So thank you. We're excited to make this switch to all live Zoom programming. So it's going to look more like this and less like a webinar. Tomorrow we are doing more cooking with our athlete leader, Kim, in Northern California. And she and our health promotion clinical director, who is also a nutrition consultant, will be on to answer questions about nutrition and talk about portion control. And they'll be making a zoodles pesto dish. On Wednesday, we're going to do-it-yourself face masks. So little relaxing with a health blogger. Her name is Kyllene. So I will send the recipe out for that. On Thursdays, we're going to do a craft. This week, we're going to do-it-yourself tie-dye t-shirts with Jordan because we're not having our own in-person summer games. There's no t-shirts, so if you want to make your own, we'll teach you how to do that. On Friday, we're going to do a workout. We'll probably focus on the events in the Northern California Summer Games pentathlon. So that's jumping jacks and squats and all that good stuff. And then on the weekends, we're going to have a couple of dance parties. So again, I will send you guys the schedule. Please come to what you can. There will be at different times each day. But if you have questions, just email me or Harry, and we will get back to you as soon as we can. We're looking forward to this week, and hope to see your faces every day.
All right. Well, thanks, Amanda. And to everybody that's on, thank you for being on.